My wife, Professor Sophia Miller, and I have been married for a month. We sleep in separate rooms. We've never held hands. We've never kissed. The way she looks at me is colder than the way she looks at a lab rat. I'm done. This isn't a marriage. It's a science experiment I'm failing. I spread the divorce papers out on the coffee table, ready to end this farce. And right at that moment, a soft, panicked voice echoed in my mind. My name is Ethan Hayes, and I've been reincarnated. I'm now a character in a trashy power fantasy novel, a throwaway side character who just happens to share my name. A rich kid who, aside from a handsome face and a mountain of cash, is completely useless. According to the plot, my purpose is to marry the beautiful ice queen, Sophia, get rejected one too many times, and then file for divorce, conveniently stepping aside for the story's actual protagonist. After that, the hero's plot armor would crush me, leaving my family bankrupt and my life in ruins. The good news? I've arrived right as the story is kicking off. The bad news? I'm already married to Sophia, and we've been sleeping in separate rooms for a solid month. I sat in the ridiculously lavish living room, staring at her closed bedroom door across the hall, and sighed. Sophia, my legal wife, the youngest tenured physics professor at the prestigious Evergreen University, a certified genius goddess in the academic world. Long hair, a frosty demeanor, and a pair of legs that could make any man reconsider his life choices. But she was also a glacier that hadn't thawed in 10,000 years. In a month of marriage, we'd exchanged maybe 20 sentences total. Her eyes always held a detached, analytical quality when she looked at me, as if I were some chaotic variable messing up her perfectly calculated world. I'll admit, when I first woke up in this body, faced with a woman that's stunning, I had ideas. In my past life, I was just a regular corporate drone. I'd never seen anyone like her up close. But after a month, all that initial enthusiasm had been flash-frozen by her sub-zero attitude. I was tired. Seriously. In my last life, I worked myself into an early grave, literally dying at my desk. This time, I've got a multi-billion-dollar fortune. All I want to do is coast. Kick back, be a professional slacker, and actually enjoy life for once. Good food, fine wine, working out, traveling the world. Anything sounded better than trying to make small talk with a statue. As for the protagonist and the plot, to hell with them. I just want to keep my head down and live comfortably until the credits roll. So divorce. It had to be divorce. Get my part of the story over with, get the paper signed, and then I was free. I pulled the divorce agreement, already drafted by my assistant Arthur, from the drawer. The terms were simple. One of my mansions, a car, and a $20 million cash settlement. It was a fortune to a normal person, but for my family, it was pocket change. I figured I was being more than fair. I heard a soft click from the entryway. Sophia was home. She slipped off her heels and put on her slippers. She was still in her work clothes, a crisp white blouse and a black pencil skirt that did incredible things for her figure. Her long hair was tied back in a neat bun, revealing the delicate, pale nape of her neck. A cool, woody fragrance drifted through the air. She glanced at me, her expression unreadable, and gave a slight nod. That was her version of a greeting. Then she turned to head upstairs to her room. "Wait," I said, my voice cutting through the silence. She stopped on the bottom step and looked back, a flicker of question in her clear eyes. "We need to talk." I patted the sofa next to me and took a deep breath. "Showtime." Sophia hesitated for a moment before walking over and sitting on the armchair across from me. Her posture was perfect, her knees pressed together as if she were at an academic conference. "What is it?" Her voice was as cool and clinical as the rest of her. I pushed the divorce agreement across the coffee table toward her. "Let's get a divorce." I kept it short and simple. I expected her to calmly pick up the papers, sign them, and we'd go our separate ways. But she just stared at the document, motionless. The silence was suffocating. I was getting impatient, about to speak again. "A divorce? He wants to divorce me? Why? Did I do something wrong? Was I too cold? But I don't know how to be warm." Oh God, Mom was right. No one could ever actually like someone like me. He must be totally sick of me. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? I don't want a divorce. I like him, a torrent of panicked, tearful thoughts, in a voice that was distinctly feminine, flooded my mind. I froze. "Who? Who's talking?" I scanned the room. It was just me and Sophia. Arthur and the housekeeper had gone home hours ago. Sophia was still sitting there, face a perfect mask of indifference. The only giveaway was her knuckles, white as she gripped the fabric of her skirt. Why isn't he saying anything? Is he mad at me for being so cold? Should I say something? What can I even say? Should I just say I don't want to? No, that's so pathetic. He'll lose all respect for me. What if I ask why? He'll just list all the ways I'm boring and frigid, and I'll start crying. Crying in front of him would be the most humiliating thing ever. I'm freaking out. Somebody help me. Me? I slowly, mechanically, turned my head back to the woman in front of me. Her expression was still that of an unapproachable ice queen, but the voice in my head was hers. Unmistakably hers. This was her inner monologue. I could hear Sophia's thoughts. Did this world just get a whole lot weirder? I was stunned, staring at her frozen face while her frantic, nearly sobbing voice echoed in my brain. The sheer, ridiculous, unbelievable contrast shattered my entire worldview. He keeps staring at me. His eyes are so intense. Does he think I'm pathetic? That I can't even handle a simple divorce? It's over. It's over. He hates me even more now. But I really, really like him. He's so handsome. And when he smiles, he has this little dimple. And his body is amazing. I saw him at the gym that one time, his abs. God, I just want to touch them. And he's an amazing cook. Better than any of those Michelin star restaurants. And he makes his own cider. I snuck a sip once. It was so sweet, so good. Listening to her mentally list my good qualities, the shock in my mind slowly morphed into a bewildered sense of amusement. So, this woman who'd been giving me the cold shoulder for a month, who wouldn't let me within 5 feet of her, was actually crushing on me, hard, and was a total sucker for my looks, my cooking, and my six-pack. Her so-called coldness was just crippling social anxiety? Or maybe she just had no idea how to talk to a guy. I looked at her face, which screamed, "Do not approach," and then listened to the whimpering mess in my head. Slowly, deliberately, I reached out and pulled the divorce agreement back. He took the papers back. What does that mean? Is he changing his mind? Am I imagining things? Or is he going to write up a new agreement with harsher terms? Oh God, as long as we don't get divorced, I'll agree to anything. He can have all the money, the house. He can have me. Puffed. I nearly choked, tried to hold back a laugh. I cleared my throat, looking into her eyes, which were wide with an almost breathless tension. Then, as slowly as I could, I tore the agreement in half and dropped the pieces into the trash can. Forget it, I said. Sophia's eyes lit up, a flash as quick as a shooting star. He ripped it up. He really ripped it up. He's not divorcing me. This is great. I'm not going to be a divorcee. I'm so happy. I want to hug him and spin him around. No, must remain composed. I watched as Professor Miller, who on the surface just gave a quiet, simple, and was setting off a fireworks display in her head. Suddenly, I thought, maybe staying married wouldn't be so bad. In fact, it might even be interesting. It's getting late. I'm going upstairs, Sophia said, standing up so quickly she was like a startled rabbit. She practically fled up the stairs. I watched her go, her triumphant post-disaster cheers still echoing in my head. Safe. I'm safe. That was terrifying. Thank God my husband didn't dump me. Okay, I need to reflect. I can't keep being so cold. What if he wants a divorce again? How can I be nicer to him? Buy him a gift? Get him the latest issue of the Journal of Physics? No, he wouldn't be interested in that. Or maybe I should be more proactive? How do I do that? The books say that all men like. The rest of her thoughts took a sharp turn into R-rated territory, and my jaw tightened. Sophia, you're a physicist. What kind of trashy romance novels have you been reading? I leaned back on the sofa, rubbing my temples. The past hour had been more surreal than my entire previous 20-something years of life combined. So, my wife in name only wasn't an ice queen at all. She was a shy, sweet girl with an overactive imagination who was secretly head over heels for me. She just had no idea how to show it. I suddenly remembered our wedding night. Our friends and family had jokingly pushed us into the master bedroom. I was nervous, too, and tried to start a conversation to ease the tension. But she just grabbed a pillow and said, "Sorry, I'm not used to sleeping with other people." And then she left for the guest room next door. At the time, it felt like a bucket of ice water dumped over my head. I was embarrassed and completely rejected. But thinking back now, I focused, trying to remember the details. I think after she said it, the tips of her ears were bright red, and she couldn't even look at me. Could it be? Oh my God, we're going to sleep in the same room. The same bed. Is he going to try something? What do I do? Do I say no or just let it happen? He smells so good. My heart is beating so fast. His probably is too. No, I'm not ready. It's too soon. I'll have a panic attack. I'll just go to the guest room. Yes, we'll sleep separately for now. Until we know each other better. Me. Case closed. The entire reason I'd been sleeping alone for a month was because of the nonstop drama festival playing out in her head. I shook my head, a half laugh escaping my lips. What a mess. But still, a beautiful professor who was outwardly untouchable but inwardly obsessed with me. That was a pretty hot concept. Way more interesting than just getting divorced and retiring at 25. I picked up my phone and sent a message to my assistant. Arthur, find me a list of the top courses for improving a man's personal appeal. Arthur replied instantly. ? I typed back. Personal training, martial arts, culinary classes, wine tasting. You name it. Get me in. Arthur, Mr. Hayes, did something happen? I thought you were planning to retire and enjoy the quiet life. I smiled and typed my reply. The retirement plan is still a go. I'm just adding a little spice to my life. Time to spice things up with my ice queen wife. The next morning, I was up at dawn. I put on a tank top and shorts and started a strength training routine in the living room fitness area. Sweat traced the lines of my muscles. My 8-pack and V-line were on full display in the morning light. As I lifted a dumbbell, I kept an eye on the staircase out of the corner of my eye. Sure enough, a few minutes later, Sophia came downstairs in a conservative set of pajamas. She saw me, and her feet visibly faltered. It's the abs. They're real. And they're moving. Oh my God, those lines, that sweat. So hot. My nose feels a little warm. I almost dropped the dumbbell, trying not to laugh at the string of mental exclamation points. Here we go. Sophia stood frozen, pretending to study a painting on the wall, but her eyes kept darting in my direction. Why is he working out in the living room? This is a public space. Does he think he can just do whatever he wants because he has a great body? Ugh. Yes, he can. I really want to touch them. I wonder what they feel like. They must be so hard. I set the dumbbell down, grabbed a towel to wipe the sweat from my face, and then deliberately walked toward her. Morning, I said with a slight smirk, flashing her a smile. My sudden approach made her jump, her whole body tensing up. In morning, she mumbled, her eyes glued to the floor, refusing to look at me. He's coming over. He's so close. He's so warm. And he smells like sweat, but it's a really good smell. Like pure testosterone. Was he just smiling at me? He has such a nice smile. The dimple. Oh God, my heart is going to stop. I looked at her ears, which were red enough to start a fire, and my mood soared. I am gonna go grab a shower. You go ahead and eat. As I walked past, I let my arm accidentally brush against hers. Her body flinched as if struck by lightning. We touched. His arm is so hot and so muscular. My hand wants to touch it too. I fought back a grin and disappeared into the bathroom. Behind me, I could hear Sophia's inner screams practically shaking the foundations of the house. This game was getting more fun by the minute. When I came out of the shower, dressed in a clean set of casual clothes, Sophia was already sitting at the dining table, taking tiny sips of milk, her gaze clearly unfocused. I sat down across from her and pushed the sandwich the housekeeper had prepared in her direction. Eat more. You're too thin. He's worried about me. He thinks I'm too thin. Does he not like my body type? Should I eat more? But if I eat more, I'll get fat and my skirts won't look good and my legs will get thick. What do I do? Does he like skinny girls or curvy girls? Listening to her internal crisis, I almost snorted milk out of my nose. Women, a complete mystery. I had to add, I'm not a fan of bony. A little something to hold on to is more comfortable. As soon as the words left my mouth, I saw Sophia silently pick up another half of the sandwich and stuff it into her mouth. Her cheeks puffed out like a little hamster's. Comfortable to hold. He wants to hold me. Oh my God, he really wants to hold me. Is he trying to tell me something tonight? Does that mean I don't have to sleep in the guest room tonight? Me? Professor, can we slow down a bit? Your train of thought is breaking the sound barrier. It was just an offhand comment, although, looking at the two suspicious splotches of red appearing on her cool little face, I suddenly thought that maybe it wasn't such a bad idea. Just then my phone buzzed. It was Arthur. Mr. Hayes, Ms. Victoria Vance is here. She says she needs to see you. Victoria Vance. The name instantly triggered a scene from the novel in my head. Victoria Vance, my former fiancée and the Ice Queen CEO of Vance Industries. She was also a major supporting female character in the early parts of the story. Our engagement was an arranged marriage between our families, but she'd always looked down on me, the useless heir. She publicly broke off our engagement at the party, turning me into the laughingstock of our entire social circle. Later, she was won over by the protagonist Leo Sterling's power and charisma and became one of the women in his orbit. Why was she here now? According to the original plot, she was supposed to show up and mock me, saying that after she dumped me, the best I could do was find some pretty university professor to be my rebound. Then, my character, the useless sidekick, would fly into a rage, get into a huge argument with her, and just come off looking even more pathetic and impotent. Let her in. My eyes turned cold. Perfect timing. I was curious to see how my own Ice Queen wife would react when faced with a rival. Victoria Vance strode in on 4-inch heels, radiating pure power. She was dressed in a designer power suit, her makeup flawless, and her eyes held an undisguised arrogance and contempt. She scanned the living room decor, her gaze finally landing on me, a mocking smile playing on her lips. Ethan, long time no see. You seem to be doing well for yourself. I heard you got married. Find a replacement already. Her voice wasn't loud, but every word was a needle. Who is this woman? She's so hostile. A replacement? What a disgusting thing to say. Is she talking about me? How dare she talk to Ethan like that? It's not like no one else wants him. I'm so mad. I want to throw a beaker at her face. I almost laughed out loud. Professor, your fighting spirit is impressive. Already planning to use chemical weapons. I took a slow sip of my milk, not bothering to engage with her. With self-important people like her, ignoring them is the best weapon. Victoria saw my silence as a sign that she'd hit a nerve, and her smirk widened. Her gaze shifted to Sophia, who was sitting quietly beside me, and she looked her up and down. And this must be your new wife? The famous Professor Miller from Evergreen University. Sophia tightened her grip on her glass, saying nothing. How does she know who I am? Did she run a background check on me? I hate the way she's looking at me. Like I'm something for sale. Ethan's ex-fiancée. So was her. She's the one who humiliated him at the engagement party and made everyone laugh at him. No wonder Ethan always seems so listless. He must have been deeply hurt by her. This horrible woman. Me. Hold on, Professor. Isn't your imagination running a little wild? I'm not listless because of heartbreak. I'm just lazy. I want to do nothing. Victoria let out a small laugh, her tone dripping with patronizing superiority. Professor Miller, a pleasure. I was just curious. With your intelligence and beauty, why would you choose someone like Ethan? A man with no redeeming qualities? Was it just for his family's money? That last sentence was the spark that lit Sophia's fuse. Her face remained blank, but the alarm bells in my head were screaming. How dare she? How could she say that about my husband? No redeeming qualities. You're the one with no redeeming qualities. Your whole family has no redeeming qualities. He can cook. He makes his own cider. He has an 8-pack. He has a dimple when he smiles. How is that no redeeming qualities? You blind, stupid woman. You were the one who wasn't good enough for him. I'm going to say something. I can't hold it in. Just as I thought Sophia was about to slam her hands on the table, she simply took a deep breath, lifted her head, and met Victoria's gaze with her own cool stare. Ms. Vance, this is a private family matter. It doesn't seem to concern you. Her voice was quiet, but it carried an undeniable finality. And for the record, my husband is a wonderful man. To me, he's the best person in the world, and not just anyone has the right to judge him. With that, she stood up and turned to me. I'm finished with breakfast. I have a meeting at the university, so I'm leaving now. Then, without a second glance at Victoria, she walked out. Victoria's face was frozen in place. She probably never expected this quiet, delicate-looking professor to have such a sharp tongue. I watched Sophia's retreating back, a warm feeling spreading through my chest. Oh God, was I too harsh just now? Did I scare Ethan? Does he think I'm some kind of shrew? But that woman was so horrible. I couldn't help it, whatever. I can't let her bully my husband. Go, honey. Don't let the mean lady get you down. Hearing her thoughts fade as she walked away, I couldn't hide my smile any longer. My wife was a hidden gem. Is something funny? Victoria's icy voice snapped me back to the present. Her face was livid. You've really stooped low, Ethan. Finding a woman with a sharp tongue to protect you like a mother hen. Is this all you become? I finally looked up at her, a playful glint in my eyes. Victoria, do you really think that every man in the world should be groveling at your feet? That being dumped by you is the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. Victoria lifted her chin. Wasn't it? Of course not, I laughed. It was the luckiest. You. If you hadn't broken our engagement, how would I have ever met someone as amazing as Sophia? I stood up slowly and walked over to her, looking down at her from my full height. You think I have no redeeming qualities because you're blind. You think Sophia isn't good enough for me because you have no idea how wonderful she is. As for you, I leaned in close, lowering my voice. Victoria, pack up that pathetic superiority complex of yours. In my eyes, you're not even worthy of polishing her shoes. Without waiting for a reply, I turned my back on her rage-twisted face and headed upstairs. Arthur, show Ms. Vance out. I heard Victoria's furious shriek from downstairs, followed by the sound of shattering porcelain. I shrugged. Just $100,000 antique vase. As long as my wife was happy, I wouldn't blink if she smashed 10 of them. In high spirits, I walked into my study and called Arthur. Arthur, isn't Vance Industries currently bidding on that Southside development plot? Yes, Mr. Hayes. They've been preparing for it for months. They're determined to win it. Oh, I said lightly. Have Orion Enterprises throw their hat in the ring. Just for fun. Orion Enterprises, the most unassuming investment firm under my name, and the secret foundation of the business empire I'd built for my future life of leisure. No one knew about it, except for Arthur. My family didn't know, and Victoria Vance sure as hell didn't know. Just for fun. Arthur paused on the other end. Mr. Hayes, what are your orders? My orders are, I said, my gaze turning cold as I looked out the window, to make her lose. And lose badly. You want to bully my wife? Victoria Vance, you have no idea who you just picked a fight with. The next few days were quiet. Sophia, probably still fired up from her confrontation with Victoria, started acting slightly different around me. She was still quiet, but she didn't avoid my gaze as much. At dinner, she'd sneak glances at me. After my workout, she would just happen to be walking by and would hand me a bottle of water, her face blushing. The mental commentary in my head shifted from panic screaming to a constant stream of sweet, bubbly thoughts. Hubby's wearing a white shirt today. So handsome. I want to give him a hickey on his collarbone. The way he drinks water is so sexy. His Adam's apple moves. Gulp. The barbecue ribs he made tonight were so good. How do I let him know I love them and want him to make them again tomorrow without sounding demanding? Listening to her adorable internal monologues was like watching the sweetest TV series ever. This evening, I was in my study going over some files for Orion, specifically the plan to crush Vance Industries' Southside project bid. Sophia appeared at the doorway in her pajamas, clutching a pillow, looking hesitant. She was wearing a set of pink silk pajamas that made her skin look like snow. Her long hair was down, making her look less like a stern professor and more like a soft, approachable girl next door. Need something? I asked, setting my papers down. Okay, how do I say this? How do I even start? Do I just say, I want to sleep with you tonight? Too direct. I'll die of embarrassment. Maybe I should make up an excuse? Like, my air conditioner is broken? That's such a lame excuse. He'll never believe it. Or I could say I'm scared of thunderstorms. But it's not even raining. Being a proactive woman is so hard. I watched her stand there, her brow furrowed in concentration, looking like a little kitten who wanted to steal a treat but was afraid of getting caught. An idea sparked, and I spoke first. The AC in my room is acting up, I think. It's not cooling properly. Sophia's eyes instantly lit up. A divine assist. His AC is broken. It's fate. It's destiny. Now I have a legitimate reason to invite him to my room. No, wait, be cool, be cool. She cleared her throat, trying to keep her voice steady. Well, do you want to sleep in my room? Mine is brand new. Would that be an inconvenience? I asked, pretending to be hesitant. No. No convenience at all, she stammered, getting flustered. I mean, it's convenient. Very convenient. My bed is really big. The moment she said it, she looked like she wanted to bite her own tongue off. What am I saying? My bed is really big. It sounds like I'm propositioning him. It's over. He definitely thinks I'm a shameless hussy now. I bit the inside of my cheek to keep from laughing and stood up. All right then. Thank you. I followed her into her bedroom. It was the complete opposite of my cold, grayscale room. The walls were cream-colored, the curtains were a soft pink, and the air was filled with the same faint, pleasant scent she always wore. There were several cute stuffed animals arranged on the bed. It was a young girl's room through and through. Who would have thought this was the private sanctuary of the stern? No nonsense, Professor Miller. He's in my room. He's in my room. Does he think my room is too childish? Does he hate the stuffed animals? Should I hide them? I walked over to the bed and picked up the largest stuffed rabbit. This rabbit is pretty cute. He said my rabbit is cute. He likes it, which by the transitive property means he likes me. Sophia's cheeks instantly flushed a deep red. I put the rabbit back and sat down casually on the edge of the bed. The mattress was soft and dipped under my weight. Sophia just stood there nervously, not knowing what to do with her hands. Not going to sleep? I asked, patting the space next to me. She jumped as if she'd been shocked, then slowly shuffled to the other side of the bed, slipped under the covers, and lay there as stiff as a board. I'm in bed. I'm in bed. I'm in the same bed as him. I can't breathe. He's so close. I can smell him. Is he going to do something? What should I do? I'm excited and terrified. Listening to her thoughts, a mix of anxiety and anticipation, I turned on my side to face her. Her eyes were squeezed shut, her long eyelashes trembling slightly. This woman was so adorable, it was driving me crazy. I reached out an arm and gently pulled her into my embrace. Her body went rigid. Ah, he's hugging me. He's really hugging me. His chest is so broad. I feel so safe. His heart is beating so fast. Should I hug him back? Would that seem too forward? While she debated, I tightened my hold. Don't move, I murmured, resting my chin on the top of her head. My voice was a little hoarse. Just let me hold you for a minute. The woman in my arms stopped struggling. After a long moment, I felt a pair of small, cool hands hesitantly wrap around my waist. He likes it when I hug him. He's so warm. I wish we could just stay like this. Forever. A smile spread across my face as I closed my eyes. For the first time in a month, I slept soundly through the night. The next day, I woke up feeling refreshed and clear-headed. The woman in my arms was still fast asleep, curled up against me like a contented cat. She nuzzled against my chest and let out a soft, happy sigh. I leaned down and placed a soft kiss on her forehead. A new day, starting with teasing my wife. I was about to get up when my phone vibrated. It was a news link from Arthur. Vance Industries loses bid. Mysterious Orion Enterprises secures Southside plot with 10-figure offer. Vance stock plummets at opening bell. CEO Victoria Vance may be forced to resign. I clicked the link, a feeling of deep satisfaction washing over me as I looked at the picture of Victoria's pale, shocked face. This was only the beginning. As I was reading, the person in my arms stirred and groggily opened her eyes. When she realized she was completely wrapped up in my arms, her face instantly turned beet red. Oh my God, how did I end up sleeping in his arms? I didn't do anything weird in my sleep, did I? I didn't drool, did I? She scrambled to pull away, but I just tightened my arm around her. Go back to sleep, I said, my voice still rough with sleep. And no, I have to get up, she stammered. His voice is so deep, it's giving my ears ideas. No, I have to get out of here. If I stay any longer, I'll never get out of bed. And I have a full day of classes. She struggled to sit up, keeping her back to me, not daring to turn around. I smiled at the sight of her flushed neck and ears, but didn't press the issue. We had all the time in the world. The Southside Project deal sent shockwaves through the business community. No one could believe that Vance Industries, which had been considered a lock for the project, had been blindsided by a completely unknown company called Orion Enterprises. Victoria was in full panic mode, trying to dig up information on Orion, but came up with nothing. The company was like a ghost, appearing out of nowhere with seemingly limitless resources. And me, the mastermind behind it all, was happily at home planning a new menu for my dear Professor Miller. Honey, are we having barbecue ribs tonight? When Sophia got home from work, she made the unprecedented move of actually asking for something. She stood at the kitchen doorway, her eyes filled with a mixture of hope and shyness. I really want his barbecue ribs. I've been thinking about them ever since I had them last time. But is it too much trouble to have him cook every day? Will he think I'm just a glutton who only thinks about food? You want ribs? I turned and looked at her, finding her expression utterly charming. I decided to tease her. If you want them, I think that deserve a little something in return, don't you? In return? Sophia blinked. In return? What does he mean? Does he want to kiss, but I'm too scared. I saw her face flush and knew I couldn't push her too hard. I reached out with a flour-dusted finger and gently tapped the tip of her cute little nose. Go wash the green onions for me. We'll call it even. Oh, okay. Looking immensely relieved, Sophia rushed over to the sink and started clumsily washing the vegetables. That was close. I really thought he was going to ask for a kiss. Although, if he had, I don't think I would have said no. Oh God, what am I thinking? Listening to the little drama in her head, I shook my head with a helpless smile. The kitchen was filled with a warm, peaceful atmosphere as one of us chopped vegetables and the other diligently washed them. While cooking, I accidentally nicked my finger with a knife. Hiss! I instinctively pulled my hand back. What happened? Sophia heard me and immediately dropped the onions, rushing to my side and grabbing my hand anxiously. When she saw the bead of blood welling up on my fingertip, her face went pale. You're bleeding. Oh my God, where's the first aid kit? Where are the bandages? She was in a full-blown panic. He's bleeding so much. It must hurt. This is all my fault. If I hadn't asked him to cook, he wouldn't have cut himself. I'm such a useless wife. Seeing her on the verge of tears, I felt a mix of warmth and amusement. It was just a tiny cut. I gently took my hand back from her, and before she could react, I lifted my injured finger to my lips. A warm, soft sensation enveloped the tip of my finger. Sophia's entire body froze. Her eyes went wide as she stared at me in utter disbelief. I met her shocked gaze, then deliberately let the tip of my tongue dart out and lightly lick away the drop of blood. He licked me. No, wait, he licked his own finger. But it's the finger I was just holding. H. The shriek inside my head was so loud, I thought my skull might crack. Sophia's face turned a shade of red that started at her neck and spread all the way to her hairline. She looked like a thoroughly cooked lobster. Pleased with my handiwork, I took my finger out of my mouth and mumbled, disinfecting it. Then, while she was still petrified, I turned, grabbed a bandage from the cabinet, and wrapped it around my finger. There, all better. I patted her on the head. Go on, Professor. The green onions won't wash themselves. She turned back to the sink like a wind-up doll and resumed her battle with the vegetables. She was so distracted, though, she nearly broke the faucet handle. Was he just flirting with me? He definitely did that on purpose. This man, he's too smooth. My heart, I think it's going to beat out of my chest. Tonight, am I still going to sleep in my own room tonight? At dinner, Sophia kept her head down, refusing to look at me, the blush never leaving her cheeks. She quietly gnawed on her barbecue ribs, looking absolutely adorable. Later that night, when I got out of the shower, I found Sophia already in my bed, clutching her pillow. She had wrapped herself up in the comforter like a burrito, with only her big, wide eyes peeking out, watching me nervously. He's out of the shower. He's coming closer. He's getting into bed. He's lying down. He turned off the light. In the darkness, I pulled her into my arms once again. This time, she didn't stiffen. She melted against my chest. Ethan, she whispered my name. Why? Why are you different with me than you are with everyone else? Why is he so nice to me? He was so harsh with that Victoria Vance woman. Is it just because I'm his wife? I tightened my arms around her and whispered in her ear, because you are my wife, you're the only person legally allowed to be in my bed, for me to hold while I sleep. The small body in my arms went completely still. I could feel her heart hammering against my chest like a drum. He said, I'm the only one. He said, he likes holding me when he sleeps. Am I dreaming? I'm so happy. Happy, I smiled. Professor, this is just the beginning. That weekend, Evergreen University was holding its centennial gala. As an outstanding young faculty member, Sophia was scheduled to give a speech. She started stressing out a week in advance. Every night, as I held her, her inner monologue was a constant stream of anxiety. Is my speech good enough? Is it too boring? What should I wear? Is the blue dress too formal? Should I wear jewelry? Which set should I choose? I couldn't take her constant fretting, so I took matters into my own hands. I had Arthur deliver the latest collections from a dozen different couture brands, filling the entire living room with gowns. Sophia stared at the sea of beautiful dresses, her eyes wide. Oh my God, there are so many. Are these all for me? This one is gorgeous, but so is that one. What do I do? I can't choose. I picked up a silvery white gown that looked like a starry night sky and held it up to her. This one, I said, it suits you. The dress was cleverly designed. It looked modest at first glance, but under the lights, the tiny diamonds sewn into the fabric would glitter like the Milky Way. It was understated yet glamorous. Most importantly, it would show off her figure perfectly. When Sophia came out of the dressing room, I felt my breath catch in my throat. The moon-colored gown made her look like an ethereal fairy. The cinched waist highlighted her impossibly slim figure, and her long hair was loosely pinned up with a few stray tendrils framing her face, giving her an air of cool, untouchable allure. He's not saying anything. Does it look bad? I knew it. I can't pull off a dress this beautiful. I snapped out of my trance and walked up to her, my voice filled with genuine admiration. You look beautiful. I reached up and tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear, my fingertips brushing against the warm shell of her ear. My wife is the most beautiful woman in the world. Sophia's face went crimson. He called me beautiful. He called me his wife. Ah, I don't care. Tonight, I am a literal goddess. That evening, I attended the gala as her plus one. Just as I parked the car, I saw someone I really didn't want to see. Victoria Vance. She had been invited as a distinguished alumna and a major donor. And on her arm was a man, handsome, with a confident air about him. I narrowed my eyes. I recognized him. Leo Sterling, the protagonist of the novel. A so-called chosen one who climbed the social ladder using his special abilities and a string of female conquests. It seemed the power of the plot was strong. These two had found their way to each other after all. Victoria saw us, too. She tightened her grip on Leo's arm and walked over, her chin held high. Ethan, what a coincidence. Her gaze flickered over me for a second before landing on Sophia, a flash of jealousy in her eyes. Tonight, Sophia was undeniably breathtaking. And who might this be? Leo asked, looking at me with a probing stare. Just some loser I dumped, Victoria said dismissively. Leo smirked knowingly and didn't bother looking at me again. In his world, a side character like me wasn't even worth a second glance. I shrugged, not wasting my energy on them. I looked down at Sophia. Her face was tense, her knuckles white as she clutched her handbag. It's that horrible woman again. She's here to bully my husband again. Who's that guy with her? He looks so slick and smarmy. Definitely a bad guy. I can't let my husband face him alone. Sophia took a deep breath, then threaded her arm through mine, pressing herself close. She lifted her head and gave Victoria a shallow but distant smile. Ms. Vance, good to see you again. Is this your new dance partner? She put a deliberate emphasis on the words dance partner. Victoria's expression soured instantly. Leo frowned. I had to bite back a laugh. Well played, Professor. An academic's insult, elegant and absolutely lethal. Sophia, what's that supposed to mean? Victoria hissed. Nothing at all, Sophia replied, her face a mask of innocence. I was just noticing how frequently you change partners, Miss Vance. I suppose not everyone is as lucky as I am to have found someone worth spending a lifetime with. As she spoke, she leaned into me, looking the picture of wedded bliss. Huh, take that. See how you like it. How dare you call my husband a loser? My husband is the best man in the world. Victoria was so angry she was speechless, her beautiful face turning red. Leo's expression was dark as well. He probably wasn't used to women who didn't immediately fall for his charms. Let's go, darling, Sophia said, not even looking at them as she pulled me toward the ballroom. Yay! Victory, wasn't I super brave just now? Will my husband think I'm amazing? Will he worship me now? I looked at her triumphant little face and couldn't help but squeeze her hand. You were amazing, Professor. Her face instantly blushed. Inside, the ballroom was a swirl of elegant dresses and clinking champagne glasses. As one of the guests of honor, Sophia was quickly surrounded by university deans and senior professors. I was happy to fade into the background, finding a quiet corner with a glass of champagne to watch her shine. She wasn't a woman of many words, but when she talked about her field, she lit up. That confidence and intelligence were more captivating than any designer gown or diamond necklace. So many people. I'm so nervous. It's okay. My husband is watching me. As long as he's here, I'm not afraid. Why go up on stage? I can't embarrass him. I raised my glass to her from across the room. When she saw me, her lips curved into a small, secret smile that was just for me. Just then, an unwelcome voice spoke beside me. All alone, it was Leo Sterling. He was holding a glass of wine, acting overly familiar. Your wife is an impressive woman, he said, his eyes on Sophia, filled with a mixture of appreciation and greed. I sneered inwardly. Of course, the protagonist's main trait was seeing a beautiful woman and immediately wanting to add her to his collection. She certainly is, I replied coolly. It's a shame she's with you. Such a waste, Leo said, shaking his head with an air of pity. A woman like her deserves a bigger stage, not to be stuck as a trophy wife for an incompetent husband. Oh, I raised an eyebrow. And who do you think she should be with? Someone like me, Leo said without a hint of modesty. I could give her the best resources, help her reach the pinnacle of the academic world, maybe even win a Nobel Prize. What can you give her? I laughed. I can give her something you can't. And what's that? A home. And my unconditional love, I said, looking him dead in the eye. And a husband who doesn't need to use women to get ahead. Leo's face hardened. What did you just say? You heard me. I took a sip of champagne. Mr. Sterling, stay away from my wife. She is not for you. And if I don't, Leo's eyes went cold, and an invisible pressure radiated from him. This was the protagonist's aura described in the novel, designed to intimidate normal people. Too bad for him. It had no effect on me. Not only was I from another world, but I was also this world's hidden final boss. I set down my glass and met his gaze, letting my own aura of power, the kind that comes from commanding a global empire, flow freely. You can certainly try. Let's see who's left with nothing in the end. Leo's pupils contracted. He was clearly shocked that a loser like me could not only resist his aura, but overpower it. Just as the tension between us peaked, the MC took the stage. And now, please join me in welcoming Evergreen University's youngest tenured professor of physics, Dr. Sophia Miller. The spotlight hit the stage, and Sophia took a deep breath, gathered her skirt, and walked gracefully into the light. In that moment, she was the center of everyone's universe. And in my eyes, she was the only one who mattered. Sophia stood on the stage, bathed in the spotlight, looking impossibly beautiful. She was nervous at first, but when her eyes found me in the crowd, she instantly relaxed. My husband is watching. Don't be nervous. I have to do my best. She cleared her throat and began her speech. Her voice was clear and melodious, her speech concise and brilliant. She spoke about the future of quantum physics and the importance of fundamental science education, making complex topics accessible and fascinating. The entire audience was captivated. Even I, a complete physics illiterate, found myself hanging on her every word. This was Sophia in her element. In the world of science, she was an undisputed queen. When she finished, the hall erupted in thunderous applause. Sophia bowed to the audience. Then her gaze found me again, a hint of pride and a silent plea for praise in her eyes. I smiled and gave her a thumbs up. Her smile grew even brighter. The gala transitioned into a networking reception. The moment Sophia stepped off the stage, she was swarmed. There were old professors wanting to discuss academic theories and business tycoons hoping to make a connection. And one uninvited guest, Leo Sterling. Using his status as a donor, he pushed his way to the front. Professor Miller, your speech was magnificent, he he said, flashing a smile he clearly thought was irresistible. I'm very interested in the quantum entanglement project you mentioned. I was hoping we could find some time to discuss it in depth. Sophia took a polite but firm step back. Thank you. However, my projects are funded exclusively through academic institutions. This guy is so annoying. He's like a fly. Why is he standing so close? Doesn't he know about personal space? Husband, come save me. I was about to step in, but Victoria beat me to it. She linked her arm through Leo's, shooting Sophia a look of pure hostility as she asserted her claim. The professor is a very busy woman, but Leo's time is valuable too. He doesn't just invest in anyone, you know. Is that so? Sophia countered coolly. What a pity. I was under the impression that Mr. Sterling's investments didn't come with any personal strings attached. Her words directly exposed the sleazy subtext of his in-depth discussion. Leo's smile froze. Victoria's face turned an ugly shade of green. Sophia, don't be ungrateful. Who do you think you are? You're just a showpiece who needs a man to buy her expensive dresses. Her outburst silenced the surrounding crowd. All eyes turned to us. Sophia's face went white. She could handle attacks on herself, but she couldn't stand it when people insulted her character, and she especially couldn't stand it when they looked down on me. How? How could she say that? That's not true. Ethan gave me this dress. She's just jealous. She's jealous that my husband is so good to me. This is too much. My eyes turned to ice. I was about to move, but a stern voice cut through from behind the crowd. Ms. Vance, you should be careful with your accusations. Everyone turned to see the president of the university walking over, accompanied by an elderly man with white hair who carried himself with immense authority. The moment the business leaders in the room saw the old man, their expressions changed. That included the arrogant Leo and Victoria. Mr. Harrison. Victoria's voice trembled. James Harrison, a living legend in American business, a true titan of industry. A man so powerful the entire market shifted when he sneezed. What was he doing here? Mr. Harrison ignored her, walking straight up to Sophia and me. He gave Sophia a kind nod. Young lady, that was a fine speech. You have your mentor's spirit. Then, his eyes landed on me, and a knowing smile spread across his face. Mr. Hayes, you really are full of surprises. Mr. Hayes, the entire room was baffled. Victoria and Leo stared, their eyes wide with disbelief. Only I knew that the Mr. Harrison was referring to wasn't the useless heir of the Hayes family, but the mysterious president of Orion Enterprises. Mr. Harrison was Arthur's old mentor and one of the very few people who knew my true identity. I had asked him to come tonight specifically for this moment. Mr. Harrison, you flatter me, I said with a slight smile, my tone respectful but not subservient. I'm just here with my wife for her university's gala. Mr. Harrison laughed heartily. With your wife? Or are you here to make sure no one bullies your precious treasure? He turned, his sharp gaze falling on Victoria. Young lady of the Vance family, you say the professor needs a man to support her? Then tell me, which man would that be? All the color drained from Victoria's face. She stammered, I was just. You were just talking nonsense. Mr. Harrison scoffed. Professor Miller's gown was custom-made for her by the head designer of Stardust, Orion Enterprises couture label. It is the only one of its kind in the world, with an 8-figure price tag. And Orion Enterprises. Mr. Harrison paused, looking at me with undisguised admiration. Its owner is standing right in front of you. Boom! The crowd erupted. Every eye in the room was now fixed on me, like a bank of searchlights. The owner of Orion Enterprises, the mysterious man who had dropped a 10-figure sum without breaking a sweat. This was him? The man they had all written off as the useless, disgraced Hayes heir? Victoria swayed on her feet, barely able to stand. She stared at me, her eyes a storm of shock, regret, and utter disbelief. She finally understood what I meant that day when I told her she was blind. She hadn't rejected a loser. She had thrown away a dragon in hiding. Leo's face was a mask of grim horror. The capital and status he was so proud of were a joke in front of Orion Enterprises. And he had just tried to steal this man's wife. It was beyond humiliating. But the most shocked person in the room was Sophia. She stood beside me, utterly stunned, staring up at me with wide, questioning eyes. Orion Enterprises. The owner, Ethan, my husband, is that mysterious tycoon. Who in the world did I marry? I looked at her adorable, dumbfounded expression and couldn't help but smile. I reached out, and in front of everyone, I pulled her into my arms, bent my head, and pressed a gentle kiss to her forehead. Now, I said, my voice quiet but carrying through the silent hall, does anyone else think my wife needs to rely on anyone but herself? The room was dead silent. The only sound was the deafening shriek in my mind, coming from Sophia. H. He kissed me. He kissed me in front of all these people. My husband is so amazing. The most amazing man ever. Am I dreaming? Somebody pinched me. Looking down at the woman in my arms, who was so happy she was about to pass out, my smile grew warmer. Professor, your surprises have only just begun. On the way home after the gala, Sophia was in a daze. She sat quietly in the passenger seat, staring out the window, but her mind was a million miles away. I could clearly hear the movie playing in her head. My husband is a billionaire tycoon. My husband is a billionaire tycoon. My husband is a billionaire tycoon. The phrase repeated on a loop for the entire drive. I wanted to laugh, but I also felt a pang of sympathy. Tonight had been a lot for her to process. I pulled the car into the garage, turned off the engine, and unbuckled my seatbelt. We're home. Sophia seemed to snap back to reality. Oh, she said, slowly unbuckling her own seatbelt. As she reached for the door handle, I stopped her. Sophia. I said her name. She turned back, her expression still bewildered. In the dark car, moonlight streamed through the window, casting dappled shadows across her face. Her eyes were like black obsidian submerged in water, clear and mesmerizing. I couldn't hold back any longer. I leaned across the console and kissed her. Her lips were just as I'd imagined, soft, cool, with a hint of sweetness. Sophia's body went rigid, her eyes flying open. He's kissing me. On the lips. On my first kiss. I didn't give her time to think, deepening the kiss, my tongue gently coaxing her lips apart. At first, she was clumsy, unsure of how to respond. But slowly, with my guidance, she began to relax, to tentatively kiss me back. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathless. Sophia's face was flushed, her lips slightly swollen and red, her eyes glistening like a frightened deer's. "You," she started, but didn't seem to know what to say. "Aren't you curious?" I asked, my voice husky as I traced the outline of her lips with my thumb. "Curious? About what? About why I kept it a secret?" Sophia fell silent. Of course she was curious. Why didn't he tell me? Did he not trust me? Or did he just see me as some clueless decoration in his life? Her mind was already starting to spin out of control. "I wasn't trying to hide it from you," I sighed, gently pulling her head onto my shoulder. At first, all I wanted was to live a quiet life. The Hayes family name was a hassle, and the Orion identity was just as much trouble. I didn't want any distractions. But then, I found out your secret. Sophia's body stiffened. My secret? My secret? What secret do I have? Does he know I have a crush on him? Does he know I spend half my day fantasizing about him? Oh my God, I can never show my face again. Seeing her look like she wanted to crawl into a hole and disappear, I let out a soft laugh. "I know you're not an ice queen," I said, stroking her hair. "I know you just have trouble expressing yourself. And I know you're incredibly sweet." Sophia buried her face deeper into my shoulder. "I fell for that sweet, contradictory part of you," I continued. "So I wanted to use my own methods to slowly, gently, encourage you to show me your true self. I didn't want to use the title of Orion CEO to force you into anything. Do you understand?" The woman in my arms didn't speak, but she nodded silently against my shoulder. I felt a damp warmth spreading through my shirt. She was crying. He knew all along. He didn't think I was stupid or boring. He called me sweet. Oh God, how could I not love this man? I held her, letting her cry into my shirt until she was finished. When she finally pulled back, her face was blotchy and red. "I am sorry," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "From now on, I'll try to be more open with you." "Okay," I smiled, wiping a tear from her cheek. "I'll be waiting." That night, For the first time, we didn't sleep in separate rooms. We held each other close, with no barriers between us. I thought our life would transition into a sweet, romantic comedy from then on. But I'd forgotten I was in a power fantasy novel. And where there's a hero, there's always a villain. And the biggest villain had yet to make his entrance. The next day, I got a call from Arthur. His voice was graver than I'd ever heard it. Mr. Hayes, we have a problem. Hayes Industries is the target of a hostile takeover. Your father had a heart attack. He's been rushed to the hospital. My eyes went cold. Who did it? An overseas organization. They call themselves the Dragon Syndicate. The Dragon Syndicate. A piece of the plot slammed into my memory. The main antagonist of the novel. A ruthless, terrifyingly powerful man. And the primary backer and source of power for the protagonist, Leo Sterling. He was making his move now, a full year earlier than in the original story. Was it because of me? Was I the butterfly that had changed a storm? Mr. Hayes, what are our orders? Stay calm, I said, my voice steady. I don't care about the mess at Hayes Industries. As for my father, get him the best doctors. Just keep him alive. And the Dragon Syndicate. They're only attacking my family's company to draw me out, I said with a cold laugh. If he wants to play, I'll play. I hung up and turned to see Sophia standing behind me in her pajamas, her face etched with worry. What's wrong? Did something happen to his family? The call was about a takeover. A hospital. Is he in danger? I looked at her anxious face, walked over, and pulled her into a hug. It's nothing. Just a small problem. If you need money, Sophia bit her lip. I have a lot of research grant money and my salary. It's not much, but I leaned down and silenced her with a soft kiss. Don't worry, I said, looking into her eyes. I told you I'll protect you. I'll protect our family. Sophia looked at me and nodded firmly. I trust you. Whatever happens, I'm with you. I smiled. Her words were all I needed. The Dragon Syndicate? Fine by me. Let's see which is stronger, your criminal empire or my unlimited credit line. News of the Hayes family's troubles spread like wildfire. It was a classic case of kicking a man when he's down. The same people who used to kiss up to my family were now avoiding us like the plague. Victoria Vance heard the news, too. She called me, her voice a mix of gloating and some other, more complicated emotion. Ethan, I heard your family went bankrupt. Funny how things change, isn't it? So, I replied, my tone flat. I'm just warning you, you can't win against Leo. The man backing him is more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Your only option is to go beg him for mercy. Maybe he'll spare you for Sophia's sake. Beg him? I laughed. Victoria, did you forget? My last name is Hayes, but I'm more than just a Hayes. What does that mean? It means nothing, I said, tired of talking to her. Instead of worrying about me, you should be worrying about your own company's stock price. I hung up. I pulled up the financial news. Just as I expected, the ripple effect from the Hayes Industries collapse was dragging down every company associated with it. Vance Industries was at the top of that list. My Orion Enterprises, however, having always been completely separate, was untouched. In fact, our stock was climbing. The social media hashtag Ethan Hayes Sleeps In Again was trending. The comments were a mix of jokes and memes. His family's empire is on fire, and the guy is still sleeping in. This is what they mean by unflappable. The mark of a true boss. TIL, the ultimate form of chilling, is not even letting your family's bankruptcy interrupt your nap schedule. I scrolled through the comments, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Sophia leaned over to see, and when she read the comments, she let out a small giggle. It was the first time I had ever seen her laugh so freely. They all think you're a useless slacker, she said, looking up at me, her eyes sparkling with adoration. Only I know you're playing a much bigger game. My husband is so brilliant, playing 4D chess while everyone else is playing checkers. This is what a real mastermind looks like. Her worshipful gaze was actually making me a little embarrassed. I gently pinched her cheek. It's not a big game. I'm just lazy. I don't believe you, she said, hugging my arm, a knowing look on her face. I shook my head, helpless. What's it like having a wife who's completely in love with you? It means that no matter what you do, she thinks it's brilliant. Even when you're literally just doing nothing, she'll invent 100 different master plans to explain it. It wasn't a bad feeling, though. For the next few days, I continued my retired life, work out, cook, hang out with my wife. Meanwhile, Arthur, following my instructions, began a full-scale assault on the Dragon Syndicate's assets. Finance, technology, energy, any sector the syndicate had a stake in, Orion moved in like a phantom, striking with surgical precision. A silent war was being waged in the global markets. Leo Sterling quickly realized something was wrong. His funding was drying up. Several major deals that should have been easy wins were suddenly snatched away by an unknown competitor. He was spiraling. The confident swagger he once had completely gone. He went to Victoria, trying to get Vance Industries to bail him out. But her company was on the brink of collapse itself and had nothing to offer. They had a massive fight and went their separate ways. And me, the cause of all his problems, was enjoying street food with Sophia at the night market near the university. It was Sophia's first time in a place like this, and she was looking around with wide-eyed wonder. She was happily munching on a grilled squid skewer, a smudge of sauce on the corner of her mouth. I reached out and gently wiped it away. She blushed and looked down. I can get it. He wiped my mouth. So gentle, so sweet. This is straight out of a romance novel. All the college girls around us are staring. They must be so jealous of me. I glanced around and, sure enough, saw several female students whispering and giggling in our direction. See? We're celebrities, I teased. It's your fault, she muttered, but the corners of her lips were turned up in a smile. As we were eating, a group of guys at the next table who had had too much to drink started getting loud. One of them, a guy with bleach blonde hair, saw Sophia and his eyes lit up. He swaggered over with his beer. Hey, beautiful. All alone. Have a drink with me. He reeked of cheap beer, and his eyes were slimy. Before I could say anything, Sophia frowned and instinctively shrank closer to me. I moved her behind me, my expression turning cold. Get lost. The blonde guy froze. Then his face flushed with anger. The hell did you say to me, asshole? Do you know who I am? I don't want to, I said, standing up. My height gave me a clear advantage as I looked down on him. I'm giving you 3 seconds to get out of my sight. Fuck you. You're dead. He cursed and swung the beer bottle at my head. The people around us screamed. Sophia's face went white with terror. Ethan, look out. Just as the bottle was about to connect, I sidestepped, my hand shooting out to grab his wrist with perfect accuracy. I applied a little pressure. Crack! A sharp, sickening sound. The blonde guy's wrist bent at an unnatural angle. Aga! A scream like a dying animal echoed through the night market. His friends, who had been laughing a second ago, were instantly sobered by the sight and scrambled to get away. I let go of his wrist, and he collapsed to the ground, cradling his broken hand and howling in pain. I took out a handkerchief and wiped my hands as if I had just brushed off a piece of dust. Then, I turned to Sophia, who was standing behind me, completely stunned. She just stared at me, her eyes wide with shock. He knows how to fight. That was so cool just now. He took down the bad guy in one move. My husband. How many more secrets does he have? I held out my hand to her and smiled. You okay? Sophia snapped out of it, shook her head, and then threw herself into my arms, hugging me tightly. I'm fine, she said, her voice muffled against my chest. I just think. You're amazing. I held her close, feeling her trust and admiration, and my heart softened. Silly girl. I told you I would protect you. Anyone who tries to hurt you will pay the price. The little incident at the night market didn't disrupt our lives. If anything, it made Sophia even more attached to me. The way she looked at me now, it was like she was looking at an omnipotent god. Her inner monologue had shifted from panic screams to a constant chorus of my husband is so handsome. My husband is the best. My husband loves me. It was getting to the point where even I was starting to feel a little embarrassed. Meanwhile, Leo Sterling's life had become a living hell. Under the full-scale attack from Orion Enterprises, the Dragon Syndicate's overseas assets were decimated, and their funding was cut off. As the Syndicate's agent in the country, Leo had lost his most powerful backer. He went from being a celebrated golden boy to a pariah that everyone avoided. He couldn't figure out who had the power to go head-to-head with the Dragon Syndicate. Until one day, Arthur accidentally let him see an internal Orion document. At the bottom, my signature was scrawled in bold, confident strokes. In that moment, Leo completely broke. He could never have imagined that the loser he had looked down on, the man he had repeatedly humiliated, was the same mysterious tycoon who had systematically destroyed his entire world. He showed up at my gate, screaming like a madman, demanding to see me. I was in the backyard with Sophia, enjoying the sun. She was lying on a lounge chair, covered with a light blanket, dozing off. I was reading a physics textbook to her. I didn't understand a single word, but she liked listening to my voice. "Get rid of him," I told the security guards without looking up. "Ethan, get out here." Leo rattled the gate. "I know it was you. You cowardly, backstabbing snake. You used these dirty tricks to ruin me." Sophia woke up, frowning. "Is that Leo?" "Yeah," I said, closing the book. "Don't worry about it. He's just lost his mind." "Ethan, you think you've won? The Dragon Syndicate won't let you get away with this. They'll hunt you down and kill you." His voice was filled with venomous rage. A shadow of concern crossed Sophia's face. "The Dragon Syndicate. That sounds terrifying. Will they really hurt Ethan?" I patted her hand reassuringly. Then I picked up my phone and dialed a number. "Hello, Interpol? I'd like to report the location of an internationally wanted fugitive known as the Dragon. Yes, his current location is..." I rattled off an address. It was the Syndicate's main headquarters in Europe, a location Arthur had spent considerable resources to find. I hung up the phone, looked at Sophia, and smiled. There, now the world is a quieter place. "Sophia." She stared at me, dumbfounded for a long moment. That's it. He just made one phone call and took care of the Dragon Syndicate. By reporting them, my husband. What exactly does he do? I gently tweak her nose. "I'm just a law-abiding citizen doing my civic duty." Sophia nodded, not fully understanding, then lay back down, resting her head in my lap. "Ethan, from now on, no more dangerous things, okay?" she said, looking up at me seriously. "I don't need you to be some kind of hero. I just need you to be safe." My heart melted. I leaned down and kissed her eyelids. "Okay, whatever you say." From this day forward, I was no longer a transmigrator trying to outwit a novel's plot. I was just Sophia's husband, Ethan. A few days later, the news broke. The international criminal organization known as the Dragon Syndicate had been dismantled in a series of global raids. The leader, the Dragon, had resisted arrest and was killed in the ensuing shootout. Leo Sterling was also taken into custody for his involvement in numerous international financial crimes. A long prison sentence awaited him. As for Victoria Vance, after this series of devastating blows, she finally broke. Vance Industries went bankrupt, and she went from a high-flying CEO to just another person drowning in debt. Someone said they saw her one night, sitting alone on an overpass, crying her heart out. But none of that had anything to do with me anymore. I deleted all their information from my phone and put the past behind me for good. The sun was warm. The breeze was gentle. I was lying on the lounge chair in the yard, with Sophia resting her head on my lap, quietly reading a book. A cat was curled up at our feet, napping lazily. This was what true peace felt like. "Ethan," Sophia said suddenly. She put her book down and rolled over to face me. The sunlight filtered through the leaves, dappling her face. Her eyes were as bright as stars. Let's have a baby. I want to have his baby. A baby who's handsome like him and smart like me. The three of us, a family, together forever." I listened to her hopeful thoughts and looked at her shy but earnest face. I smiled. I leaned down and kissed her long and deep. "Okay, whatever you want, my love." End.